I don't know if anybody's here yet or not. I was going through my miniature paintings that I have done in the past, and I was gathering them up to put them away so that I could paint again for the night. I had taken a quick picture of them. Waxed them. Waxing them is fun. It's just me. 'Cause I got friends. Alright. So the wife and kids are on their way to the library and then Chick-fil-A. So we're on our own tonight, guys. And that's okay. That's okay. Good Lord, I didn't even realize I had all this stuff out. I set up stuff for a photograph. I didn't get any fresh water. Shoot. I set up all this stuff for a photograph and then left it all out. Crazy talk. I gotta clean this whole desktop off. Okay, so I painted this past week. Where is my owl? Oh, it's on the kitchen table. Well, shoot. How prepared is that? Do I even have a picture of it? I bet I don't even have a picture of it handy. Do. If I do on my phone, I can pull it up on my phone. That would have been a whole lot faster than what I'm trying to do now. Being prepared is just not what we do. Where did it go? There we go. So I painted, Monday nights I try to do a little miniature painting. And so Monday night I painted this little owl face. And I painted it on the back of a playing card. That's practically life size right there. Yeah. Right there is life size. I can kind of show it to you in perspective. Let's see here. Here, because I took a picture of it amongst all of this stuff, so you can see it really is fairly tiny. Anyway, I painted it. I try to do one every Monday night. You know, we all have plans, right? We all make plans to do stuff like that, and hopefully it'll work out. Hopefully we can get around to doing it. But I've been doing it more frequently, and I've had people ask me, you know, how do you do it? What's the process? Is there a process? Yada 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 yada. And so I thought, you know, we'd have some fun. We could sit here and we could just do a mini. We don't have to paint in the book every week. You can paint anywhere you want to. I like doing this because it gives you it's like painting a full-size, it gives you all the benefits of painting a full-size picture, a full-size painting, without nearly the same amount of time or expense. And so I'm going to start with a fresh card. I've already got a card prepped, and I'll show you why. I'm going to start with a fresh playing card. I have these playing cards made up just for this purpose. And I love these cards. They're great. I have stacks and stacks of these cards. People ask me, have you got a card? Sure. And I give them a card, and then they flip it over and they see, oh, that's very clever. Yeah, because I'm clever. So anyway, you take the playing card. I feel like I'm doing a magic trick. Look at me hold my hands. Miscorrection. You take the playing card and you anchor it, and you want to sand off the face. You want the face to be coarse, because as it is, the playing card is very smooth, and paint doesn't like to stick to smooth surfaces. And so what I'll do is I'll just go around the thing on all four sides. I'll anchor it, because I've already got this side when I held onto that side, so I can hold this side down here and I can get that side. And I already got this side when I held that side, so when I hold this side I can get the other side. So I'm not really trying to get the whole face off. I'm just trying to scuff it up, right? And then have a little towel handy, and I'll give that a little, just a little spritz, because, and I don't want it to sit there because I don't want the card to soak up the water, but I want to make sure I get all of that dust off of there. I don't want any dust residue on the card. So you can see I just went from a shiny face to a scuffed up face, just so that the primer will hold to it. And then I like to use Rust-Oleum flat white primer. Everybody put your mask on. You want to make sure whenever you do this, you're wearing a mask so that you don't get fumes, because the fumes will make you nauseous and die. And so we'll take this. Let's see. Let's not use this. Let's use this, because if I get paint on this, then I have to deal with it for the rest of the night, and I don't want to deal with it for the rest of the night. So we'll take this and put it on there. That way we can kind of make sure that the paint doesn't get all over the desktop. Make sure you wear a mask. You just hit it with a little primer. Not enough so that you don't see the suit anymore, but enough that you have a good, solid, even coat across the whole thing. And for my purposes, make sure it's flat. Be sure you want to use a flat white primer. This serves the same purpose as the gesso. It just seals the card and then lets you paint on top of it. But you want to make sure it's flat so that the paint sticks to it. And you want to make sure you scuff the card so that the primer sticks to the card. And then for all real purposes, this thing is done for 8 hours. Because if I just wait until it's dry to the touch with the spray paint or any other kind of paint, if I just wait till it's dry to the touch, I run the risk of scuffing up paint that's not cured underneath, or messing with the adhesion to the card. So really, once I do that, I like to let it set for 8 hours. So what I'll do is every time I paint one, I prep one. So Monday night when I painted one, here we go. Monday night when I painted the owl, I prepped this one. So I already had this one prepped. And so I was ready. So I'm ready for next Monday night. That way, it can sit, and it's had all this time to cure, and I don't have to worry about that. I mean, I can still scratch that off if I want to, but I would have to do it on purpose. This one, now since I'm going to paint on this one will be ready for Monday night. So I'm just going to set it aside. Now then, I have found some things to make this easier. And I want to talk about the items that I use to make this a little easier. There's a magnifying glass that I've packed up somewhere, but I have one of those really big magnifying glasses that clamps onto the table, and I can move it down, and it has a light. But really, I find that I don't need it. I don't get into such detail that I need it. I have. There's been some times when I broke out the single hair brush so that I could get in and make some line detail. We're not going to do that tonight, but I have done that, and when I want to go into that much detail, that big magnifying glass is really handy. I think they're $35 or $40 at the art store. I'm sure you can find them a whole lot cheaper than that in other places. Let's do beer. I like beer. I'm sure you can find them in other places a whole lot cheaper. I find that when you buy art supplies at the art store, you pay art prices. But if you go to the hardware store, you can find the same thing for about half the price, because it's not art store, it's hardware store. Anyway, so I've got that, and then I have these paintbrushes that I have bought, that I have cut down so that they'll fit in this little. This was a watercolor pencil tray, and I put these paintbrushes in here. That way, I've got a kit. I made up this little kit that I can carry around with me wherever I go, and it's got some acrylic paints in it. It has another set of fine brushes in it. It has this little this little tray here. We're not going to use this, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you why here. We may use this tray, but we're not going to use these paints. I'll show you why here in a minute. But I don't know. Maybe we will. I'm so wishy-washy on this kind of thing. But I have this that I carry around in my little kit. I bought these. I bought these miniature brushes that are for painting hobby things that I carry around when I do this. When I take this someplace to do it. I have all these things and I end up never using them. I always end up just using one or two brushes, and it really doesn't matter what I'm painting. With all the brushes that I have, I really always just end up using one or two brushes. I have this other set. This set is actually, this is a hobby brush set that is actually specifically for painting details on small miniature models, and it's got that wide body so you can get a good grip on it. It's got the really tiny brushes. Look how tiny that little brush is, and it's really nice for getting in there for the really small details. I just don't like the brushes. I don't like the ferrules hold water, so when you go back to paint again, you end up with a drop of water, and that messes up the paint. I just don't. I'm sure if I were painting in oil or something where that wasn't an issue, or if I were painting a watercolor where that wasn't an issue, it'd be a completely different thing. But I don't like using them, and maybe I just need to practice with them more. They're just not, to me, they're just a struggle. It's just a struggle to use them. They're good when you really need to get in there in that detail, and I'll break that tiny one out occasionally just when I really want to get into the detail. But honestly, I rarely use these, for the simple fact that the ferrules hold water, and I don't like that. These are the same thing, just a different, not a different brand, but a different style. But they have basically the same features. You can tell how often I've used them. I still have all the plastic covers. This one I use. These the brushes are longer on these, so they're more like line brushes. I don't know if you can tell. They're right there when I show you like that. They're more like line brushes, so I can do really small detail work with these things, and that's handy. I like these brushes. I don't often get into that kind of detail on my miniature paintings, simply for the fact that I like to leave them a little abstract. But those are the major painting supplies that I have. I have sandpaper. I have a deck of cards to paint on. I have some wax crayons, so if I want to do a resist, or if I want to do a resist, or if I want to protect the acrylic painting after it's cured, I can do it with the wax crayons. I usually use instead I use the liquid turtle wax instead of wax crayons, but I've got the wax. Usually I have the wax crayons with me. Hey Pamela, good to see you. So that is the bulk of the supplies. I don't think there's. That's a spider web. I don't think there's anything else in the kit that I actually use. Actually, I don't think there's nothing else in the kit. So then I better put all these away. And then I have this block of wood. And what I find is that when I try to paint on the card, the card moves around. You can't hold the card because it gets in the paint. And if you don't, then you go and you brush on something and the thing moves, and the thing moves, and the thing moves. And so, because it's too lightweight, or you go to blow on it and it moves because you want to, you're trying to dry a little area over here, so you try to blow on it or something and it moves, and then it blows over into your paint supply. So I have this little block of wood, and I marked the block of wood where the tape's supposed to go. And what I usually do is I put tape on there, and I put about an 1/8 inch border all the way around. My marks get off a little bit because of the way that I paint. I'm a horrible when it comes to taking care of stuff like this. I know what I'm going to do, but how preserve it for you to use is not really in my matrix. So then I take masking tape, and it's not, you know, it's not rocket surgery. I just mask off about an 1/8 inch right there. We want to make sure you have the center weighted down because the center has a tendency to bow up. So you want to make sure you have the center weighted down. And then I just go around the card like this. Just trying to get about 1/8 inch, not stretching the tape because the tape will stretch just a little bit and then you get some curvature. That's a little less than what I wanted, but that'll work. It'll still work. Hey, Louise. And so that is pretty much it as far as prep work goes. Now, the only other thing I'm going to do to this for prep work is I'm going to take my primer and I'm going to put a little coat of primer. I'm going to put 1 coat of primer on it just so I can seal the tape. I don't want paint running under the tape. And I know they say that's masking tape and it's not supposed to happen, but it seems like it happens every single time. And it really for me, it hasn't mattered what kind of tape I use. I end up with some paint under the line, and I don't want any paint under the line. So I'm just going to take a little bit of primer, and I'm just going to paint right along the edge there, just to seal that edge. I feel like I got too much, so I'm going to go a couple of strokes around each way and pick up any excess because I want it to dry quickly. We're not doing the Bob Ross wet on wet thing. We could. I have before. I'm just trying to make sure that the edges are sealed. So I'm going to dry that real quick. So my mom's not going to be able to join us tonight. She got a part-time job working at Weight Watchers. Keeping people honest. She said she'll be back next week, though. I told her it's because she didn't love us. I can't really say that to her, though, because I'm her only child. And it makes her choke up. I do too, love you! Relax, Mom, I know you love me. I have never felt unloved by you. I want to make sure that's good and set. It doesn't take very long to dry. I just want to make sure it's good and set. And that's it. That's all there is to prepping this thing. So I have these little strips of mixed media paper that I cut and put in here. Usually after I finished a notebook, I'll cut the strips out of a page that I've not used. But this time I cut it off of Unique with Chantiel. When Unique with Chantiel paints, she paints she either paints all over the thing or she paints right there. And so when she paints right there, I just go and I take the rest of the paper and I cut it into strips so I can use it as palettes. I use it as palette paper. So, what's wrong with that camera? How come that camera's not working? That camera's stuck. I'll mess with you. Anyway, so I think I will use these paints. These paints are to me they're cool colored, like the watercolors that I use. To me they have a blue hue to them, and it makes everything you do with them look cooler than it should. These paints, these student grade paints that I have, are all. They haven't done it yet, Pamela. They still have to finish up their lives in Oklahoma. Pamela's in the chat room asking about my parents moving to Houston. No, they haven't done it yet. These student grade paints that I buy are supposed to be spectral colors, and they're not supposed to have the yellow or blue tint to them that you see in a lot of paints. Some paints have a yellow tint to them that makes them warmer, and some paints have a blue tint to them that makes them automatically cooler. These all seem to have a blue tint to them, and they're Master's Touch, and they all seem to have kind of a blue tint, a cool tint to them. So I wasn't going to use them tonight, but I think I am, because I think I like the green there for what I was going to do. What I may have to zoom in. The biggest problem with doing this for me tonight is without my mom. Well, now the camera's got to move. Without my mom, there's nobody to tell me I'm on the wrong camera. And I'm not, because when I start trying to paint like this, I'll spend a whole lot of time with hold my tongue just like this, That's why I can't talk. That's why I can't talk arting, is because I'm holding my tongue right so I can paint. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. Make sure that stays. I should probably. You know what? I think I will. I'll get a Sharpie marker, and I'll put an edge there. And an edge there, and an edge there, and an edge there. Because that way when I move stuff around, I can know that I'm staying in frame. All right. So let's see. Let's get a background on this thing first. About a little burnt sienna. Ooh, there's a storm rumbling. Can you guys hear the thunder? Let's put a little burnt sienna there, and maybe move that to yellow ochre on this side. It doesn't take much. It does not take much. That is the first lesson I had to learn, is that it does not take much. However, I do want a bigger. Here's a mop. Yeah, this will work. And so I'm going to take that, I'm going to streak that across there, and I'm going to take that, I'm going to streak that across there, and kind of blend them a little, and then I'm just going to do this. All right. Not quite what I was going for, but it's a good start. I think I'm going to paint a green Viper. We're past summer. The 4th of July is over. The school supplies are out. Just as soon as, I mean, if you go some places, all of the fireworks stores are starting to switch over to Halloween stores. So I just wanted a neutral background. Yeah, that's more what I was going for right there. Here we go. That'll work for me. Yeah, you know me, I love me some snakes. Okay. Have to try to see what's on screen at the same time as what I'm... Bye, Louise! Trying to see what's on the screen at the same time while I'm trying to do this. Hope we didn't run her off. Hope we didn't run her off talking about snakes. She didn't stay long. Ooh, we have a real rumbler out there. Everybody in my family's pretty timid around lightning right now since the house got burned down. I don't really like using a hairdryer when I do fine art. Of course, I don't know if this qualifies as fine art or not, but I don't really like using a hairdryer when I do fine art because I feel like the heat from the heat gun dulls the paint. I feel like that ought to be dry. It doesn't look like it's dry. But it also doesn't look like it's changing. I don't know. Let's drive on. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So I'm going to get out this tiny little brush and I'm going to draw for a minute. I may not be able to use these paints. I don't have very much. I think I'm going to draw with the ink because then I know I won't scratch the I won't scratch that. So I got a little bottle of India ink here, and I've got this little tiny brush. And it's not a very good brush for small painting. It has a lot of small hairs sticking off of it. And when I had my magnifying lens, I could use those little small hairs to be a single hair brush. But I don't have my magnifying lens today, and so it's not what I was after. That's way too big. I am going to go back to those tiny brown brushes to draw this with. I should have just kept them out a minute ago. Tiny brushes. Let's use this one. Okay. This should. Let's see here. Ooh, don't want that much. Oh, that's not that much. That's water coming out of the ferrule. So these do the same as those others. Why are you still looking at me? You should be looking at what I'm painting. This is why I need my mom to tell me you're on the wrong camera. It's so much better with her telling me we're on the wrong camera. This is something Bill Flowers. We ought to get Bill Flowers to give us a demonstration on how to do this. He does this with live snakes. Bill Flowers is the snake artist. He's him and his lady Jennifer are really good friends of ours. They come to the United States and travel around looking and learning about snakes here in the United States. And then they stay with us sometimes when they do. And this is something we should get him to do a demo for us. That would be fun. I think that would be tons of fun. Let's see, I think that should probably be a little smaller. And this should do more like that. And then this can come over here like this. I think that would be great. Maybe we'll get Bill to critique me when I'm done. Maybe we'll ask him to take a look at it and critique me. But I can already tell you that the first thing he's going to critique me on is the fact that I'm not doing this with a live snake. I mean, that's the very first thing he's going to say. Well, the first thing you're doing wrong is it's not a live snake. There's a reason for that, Bill. Alright, now here's the top of the back of the snake, comes down here and does this, and then does this. So you have like that. Alright, that gives me an idea of where I want to go. Alright, so let's start with a little phthalo blue, just because I don't want to jump straight into the blacks. We'll save the blacks for the end, for just the very, very last thing. Okay. You know, the bad thing about this setup is that there's just a glare right on that paint. I don't know if that's any better or not. Ooh, that's worse. Maybe I need to go that way. There's no winning. Letting the paint dry on my brush while I'm over here messing around. Can't talk. Arting. So I'm trying to get the areas I'm trying to give these other areas a little bit of time to dry, so I'm trying to bounce around to different areas around the snack. I've got a little bitty flat brush. It's almost like a calligraphy brush. Little bitty flat. Ooh, you can't see that at all. There's no showing you. That way, when I turn it up on its edge, I can really get into some tight places. But it lets me get right up in there, just like that. Now, I don't want this part to be as dark, so I'm going to thin it a little. Maybe go with a little bit of lake blue. Yeah, that'll work. It's like a charm. Ha Charm. Charm the snake. Because I'm clever. Ooh, it's exciting. Bring back the kid. You think the kid should sing some more? I didn't send him away. I don't think I sent him away. He usually arts with me. I can get him back out here. But he usually arts with me. That's funny. His station, let's see, is right there. So he's usually right there painting alongside me, just not doing it tonight. We can see if he wants to. Have girl 2 out here singing for us. Tell you what, I'm gonna have to hit that with a hairdryer anyway. Before I start, let me just ask him if he wants to paint. I can edit all this out. Junior! Why don't you come paint? He's coming. He's coming. See, the problem though is he's got cartoons. He's in there watching cartoons. He didn't need his old man. But we used to always have girl 2, she would just sing. I could say, sing something, baby. I love my favorite. This is my favorite song. I love my daddy. All right. Okay, this stuff back over here, we're going to make out of focus. Can't talk. Harding. Alright. Now this is where it gets fun for me. This is going to be a lot of detail work really quickly. Or at least I'm going to try and do it quickly. Because it's only an hour-long program. I guess there's really no harm in going over time. I don't think there's any harm in going over time. Here's my dad in the chat room. Yeah, where's the kid? He said he was coming. Dad, you can't watch this. You'll throw something at the computer. I know you and snakes. Text message! Somebody's trying to get hold of me. Who would be getting hold of me on a Thursday night? It's work. They can wait. Okay. Do-do-do. See, and there's a lot of water. You really have to watch out for the excess water. I don't know. I may need a smaller brush. Rattle moccasins. Copper-headed rattle moccasin. And my dad. It's a copper-headed rattle moccasin. Alright, now let's get this color nice and going here. And let's get some bigger scales going across here. It's hard for me to focus and keep a pattern going. Because I'm trying to see the colors at the same time. And I'm not intimately familiar with snake scales. So, like I said, we should get Bill Flowers in here to give us a demo, so we can be intimately familiar with snake scales. I just know they have them. Right? Yeah, that should be more green than that. Too much white. Copper-headed rattle moccasins. What my dad calls them. Okay. That is a good start, I think. Ooh. Sounds like thunder and lightning. Okay. A little bit of red, a lot of white. And whatever blue's left in the brush. Hi, baby.
Are you still doing the show?
Yeah.
Hello, peoples. That's food.
Thank you. I can't do anything with it out here, please.
Oh, okay. I'll bring it back. Do you want your drink?
No, thank you.
Okay. I'll put
But
it
don't
back.
you drink my drink.
But it's diet lemonade.
Don't you drink my drink.
Okay. No promises.
That's girl too. That's the one I was telling you. She used to come out. She used to come out and sing for us. I'd say, sing, baby. And she'd just sing. So can you see that at all without the glare? How do I prop it up like? I need to figure out how to prop it up like that. so it'll stay. Because without the glare, it's a whole lot easier to see what's going on. Alright, let me dry this real quick. Yeah, remember when she was 4 and she would come out here? I love my daddy. He's my favorite daddy. She's bringing me Chick-fil-A waffle fries. You gotta love a woman that brings you Chick-fil-A waffle fries. Let's see, do we go to a smaller brush or do we go to a bigger brush? Let's go to a smaller brush first. Because I want some of this dark purpley color, and I'm going to go in right up in there like that. It's not dark enough. Let's put the phthalo blue in it. I went with the lake blue first. Let's use the phthalo blue. A nice little gray happening there. Make sure it stays wet long enough for us to do what we do. Can't talk. Farting. And I want to get really dark. Back here. Because then we want to come back over here to this gray and hit this edge right here. We're going to get all the basic colors in. And then come back with the highlights and darks. That way. Okay, let's leave that mouth alone for a little bit. And I'm going to get this green, and I'm going to add a lot of yellow to it. And I'm going to come through here, and I'm going to make sure these scales really have some sheen to them. I'm going to do the same thing over here. And over here. Back up in here. I want it to look like there are individual scales. I'm going to go back in with an even smaller brush here in a minute with some white, but I want to be very careful how much white I use, because I want the white to be the brightest thing on the snake. Sounds like it's really coming down outside now. I really feel like the humidity just really jumped up about 20 points here. And that's saying something, because I'm in Houston. Now we've lost the green in the back. So I'm going to go back and add this blue-green back in. Back here. Because we lost it for a second there. And now, I don't like the background. What do we do about that background? We can make that background indigo. We can make that background red. I think I'm going to go with indigo. I just I'm not impressed with that background. Let me dry this just a little bit. Ooh, the electricity's flickering. electricity's flickering. I'm gonna take a little white. I'm gonna add some variation to the background before I do this. Okay. That's good enough for what I want to do. Let me dry that. And then I'm just going to take this indigo Where's my mop? There's my mop. I'm going to take a little red and this little phthalo blue and I'm going to make some indigo over here. And I'm going to mist that. I'm going to push it around simply because I don't like the background. This is entirely because I didn't like how the background was working out. Dogs are in the house going nuts. I don't know, is that any better? I don't know, maybe after we get the highlights in it'll really play. I felt like the brown was distracting too much from the blue, or from the green rather. So I don't know. What do we think about that? How's that? Oh, that'll work. Once we put the highlights in, that'll be fine. Shoot, yeah. Thunderbolts and lightning. Very, very frightening. Galileo. My dad's in the chat room. Oh, no. Oh, no. Lightning. Can't talk. Harding. All right. Just a little bit more over here. Back there. And maybe right there. Okay, let's dry that. I don't want anything to mix after this point. See, have we overworked it? We may have overworked it. I don't know. We'll see. The thing about this long line brush like this is when my hand shakes, as long as I have the line pulled out, most of the time, it doesn't pick up. It doesn't pick up my hand shaking. Most of the time. So, you know, that's handy. Bill Flowers will sit there. I know I'm bragging on this guy, but he sits there and paints every scale. Puts dots on there for every scale. I love to watch him draw the snakes. I love to watch him paint the snakes. Sometimes I fantasize about carving snakes, and then I remember I just don't have that kind of patience. Like right now, I'm moving into abstract tree mode. When I should be focused on very carefully getting each line right where it's supposed to go. But instead, I'm looking forward to the detail part. To the last part here where I'm going to add highlights and so now I'm just going to come back in here with some white. I'm going to be very sparing with the white because I don't want to dull it. I want the white just on the shiniest parts. I just want little highlights. If I use too much white, it'll dull the whole painting. And I don't want to do that. But each scale has its own tiny little reflection of light. And if I don't put some on there, then they just become a mass of green, and you lose the scaleness. But you want to be very, very sparing. I think that may do it, but this is not white. This is back to that lemony green. I want to make sure that up against that black background, that darker background, I want to make sure that that stands out, that there's an edge. I don't want to lose that edge. Oh no. I may play with the background some more. I'm not real fond of how the background turned out. I know I didn't like the sepia after the fact. See, I'm going to obscure this by putting Well, that was a horrible idea. I don't know. Kind of worked. Let's do the same thing over here. Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me. Can't talk. Somehow I get paint all over everything. I don't know how I get paint all over everything in the studio. It's crazy. I'm calling that done. I think that's done. We went about 30 minutes too long. For not being a snake expert, we had some. I think that was kind of fun. So, and I still feel like it's so easy to overwork a painting. Especially a small one like this. Alright. Let's do this. Let's take this tape off. Oh. Baby girl loves a snack.
Snake. I like snakes.
I know you like snakes.
I love snakes.
I had to draw I zoomed in so much I had to draw a mark on here so I could know where to stay on camera. Ooh. Okay. The last thing I'm going to do to it, everybody put your masks on. I have some clear coat that I'm going to put on there.
Don't spray me.
Don't get out of the way. May everybody make sure you... Wait. Everybody make sure you have your mask on.
Why don't you just spray in here?
And so... I'm calling that a snack.
Is that Grandpa?
Yeah, Grandpa's there, but they're not chatting, so it makes me think that we've lost connection somehow.
Well, he said hi to me, so hello.
That was hours ago.
Sadness.
So, while that's figuring that out, let's look and see, because like I said, the chat stopped working. Or I think either the chat stopped working or everybody stopped talking. One of the two. There's my dad. Dad stunk up the whole room. Okay, so the chat is working. Let's see if Pamela, how's your dad? I haven't asked about your dad. Pamela sent in an easel. Trust in me. Just in me. Now look what you did. Close your eyes and trust in me. She's sketching at the hospital with her, or sketching with her dad. You will be safe and sound, knowing I am around. Hold still, please. So, okay. We watch a lot of Disney. How can you tell?
Yeah, when you take a Disney test and you get everything right, you know you watch too much.
Only geniuses can answer all of these Disney questions.
I'm like, I'm a genius!
Not great, but we're working on it. Okay, so he's not great yet, but he's still improving. That's good. Let us know. You're in our hearts and prayers. So okay, so here's the you can't see that. I have no real good way to show you the final product, because if I get close enough up there, you can't see the lighting on it.
Nick.
So there's the final snack.
Coot.
And guys, thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to girl too. When we started this, she was 4. Now she's this many and this many and this many and this many. She's gonna be
There we
a
go.
teenager. How many days?
You're making me do math. 13.
13 days. She's gonna be a teenager.
In 13 days I'm gonna be that age.
An official teenager. Hey, APG Jamie. In 15 days? 13 days. 13 days. She's going to be an official teenager.
I'm special that way.
And I will be one child closer to being done with all my raising.
Maybe I should just leave.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. You know this is my favorite night of the week when I get to art with my besties. I look forward to it every week. Let me know in the comments below what you'd like to see on the show, and more importantly, when we do it live, we start at 6:30. I'm looking for a better time. I'm not sure if that's too early or if that's too late. I know it's not. I don't want to start any earlier if I can get away with it. So we may push this back. But let me know in the comments below whether what a good time for you is. We start 6:30 Central Time. Maybe we need to start 7:30 Central Time. I don't know. My people on the West Coast miss out entirely most of the time. But thank you so much for joining us. Again, my favorite night of the week. Next time we'll be back in the book. Who knows what we're going to paint because, crazy times, right? But thank you so much. And be sure and tune in next week. Same Artistic Biker time. Maybe same Artistic Biker channel. And so, and then we dance. You did, APG. You missed it. We dance until somebody is nice enough, and as talkative as this crowd has been, they may not let me know. This guy can floss.
No, I can't.
Look, I'm chair flossing.
I'm proud of you.
Woo!
What is wrong with you?
I grew up in the 80s.
Gotta do it. Ah! Why is there a beer bottle? Confused. Someone's dancing. Did you rend it?
I stopped.